Greetings. Well, here we are. This time I want to talk to you about my Lakewood jumbo baritone guitar. You know, some 12 years or so back, we were traveling in Germany and I was reading the German acoustic guitar magazine, and there was an article there reviewing this very model, and I was really keen to have a look at that guitar, and so I made contact with Lakewood. Martin Zelliger answered the phone, as he always does, and we got chatting. It was the first time I'd ever spoken to him. And he said, well, where are you? And I said, I'm in Bavaria, which is hundreds of kilometers from Gießen, where he is. And he said, why don't I just courier you this baritone jumbo guitar? You have a try. If you like it, keep it. If you don't, just send it back to me. And the very next day, there it was. I opened the case and wow. It's a deep, rich, different sound. So alternative to what one is used to playing, you know, a normally stringed guitar. So what is it about a baritone that makes it so different? Well, you know, the first thing to say is that, and I want to explain this to you because it might just open up the logic of why it is a different thing. So this string here, the second thickest string, the second bass string, is an E. So it's equivalent to the E bass string on a normal guitar, while the top string, however, is a B. So these 5 strings are the same as they would be on an ordinary guitar, and it is missing the thin E string which you have on a usual guitar. So you miss out that thin E and you replace it with a very thick B string down below. So the guitar is strung B to B as opposed to E to E. So it takes you a whole fifth down. Or is it a fourth? Doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying. So yes, you're in a different register, and as a songwriter, that is very appealing, because it means that if you were picking a song in A, on an ordinary guitar here, the A fingering gives you an E chord, but you're doing completely different notes than you would get if you were to do that fingering on an ordinary guitar. So it places you into a different choice of chords, and that presents new melodic opportunities. That's the interesting thing for a songwriter. I love it, and I immediately loved it, and of course I didn't courier it back to Martin. So this particular guitar is a jumbo, as I said. Lakewood do make a baritone guitar based on the M shape, so that's smaller. That has a lot of appeal to me because, frankly, any guitar that has a smaller body has appeal because it's just simply easier to play, easier to transport, and so on. However, having said that, I'm absolutely delighted with the one that I've got. It's a spruce top, which I think is probably what one would select if you were considering a baritone guitar, because spruce offers all the sibilant trebles, but quite comfortably supports the richer bass notes that a baritone guitar would generate. The back and sides are rosewood. It's actually a very beautiful rosewood, and you may not be able to see, but this is a satin finish, which I rather like, with a gloss top. Again, new guitars that I might buy. I don't think I would buy another one necessarily, but if I did, it wouldn't be gloss, and certainly not on the back and sides. The reason I say that is because, and I would choose a satin finish for the top. The reason for that is twofold. Firstly, I believe, wrongly or rightly, that the less varnish there is on the wood, the more the sound can emerge. And then secondly, I think that gloss, yes, an old 50-year-old guitar which had a gloss finish way back then has got that lovely checkered finish, and it has a beautiful patina. But that patina comes more quickly to a satin finish. And I love those guitars that I have with satin finish, and some of them are now about 10 years old, and they wear beautifully. They get smooth and have slightly more reflective areas where your fingers work and so on. So the guitar quite quickly has an aged appearance. So the neck on this baritone guitar, I have omitted to measure it, but I think it's about 48 mil, which is not small. And the reason obviously is you're having to accommodate much bigger strings. The string width here I think is also bigger to accommodate that, and it's not difficult to play though. So that was the first thing that struck me. I thought, wow, with these heavy strings and this wide neck, isn't it going to be hard on the hands? And it's not. It's actually quite easy to play. But then that's because this is a really decent top-end luthier created guitar, and it does make a difference. It really does make a difference. Needless to say, solid wood throughout, solid top, solid back and sides, and this one even has a one-piece neck. So the more modern guitars now have a join there so that you don't have to lose all that wood if you're constructing a neck. In fact, that doesn't really make sense. The argument that a solid neck guitar is somehow more valuable doesn't really make much sense to me. So I love this neck. It is an ebony fingerboard, and it's an ebony saddle as well. The headstock has a rosewood veneer finish to it. The tuners are Shuller, as they generally are, with Lakewood, with ebony buttons. Very, very perfect tuners for the job. Also the gearing, and I think these are 15-1, is perfectly suited to the fine tuning of the guitar. Intonation is great. So that's all right. The octaves are good. The action on this guitar, look, I set up all my own guitars, as I think I've said before, and I like there to be a little bit of a positive bow on the neck, and then coupled with a decent height here gives me a playable neck which doesn't rattle. So this guitar certainly doesn't. Play Into the Mystic, that beautiful Van Morrison song, that's how I played. I played in E fingering, but it's actually in B. I think Van Morrison does it in C on second capo, so in D, but I guess by now he's also going to be down here in B or C somewhere. Anyway, this is We Were Born Before the Wind, also younger than the sun, etc., etc. So lovely to be able to play a song in the key of B, which if you were needing to do that on an ordinary guitar, well, the best option might be second capo in the fingering of A, but that gives you a bass B note there, which is a whole octave higher than here. So you'd be here, and we're down there. This guitar has an LR Baggs Anthem pickup, which is great. It's got a microphone and a piezo. I like the microphone because you pick up those percussive elements to your playing, and the microphone does a really great job of that. You can attenuate that microphone, so you can turn down the responsiveness of the microphone to those sounds, and that's a really great feature. Let me play you something like this. frequently play this guitar as a bass in a small trio lineup where there's no bass and you do want that little bit of bottom end. So this guitar doubles up beautifully for that job. And of course the beauty is that you can play so the bass is doing the boogie woogie down there, and you're still able to add, so you can still add those things. Great idea, baritone guitar. Especially if you're a songwriter, you're going to enjoy this. This guitar plugged in is a monster. Audiences love it. So whenever I pull out this guitar in a performance, plug it in, people just adore it. And sometimes if I don't take it along with me, there's a groan of dissatisfaction about that. So yeah, it's a great guitar to have.